If you've been watching my videos on YouTube, you know that I have a couple of videos on biotin. And when I talk about biotin, a lot of people reach for biotin supplements for hair growth, nail, skin health. And honestly, there is some research to suggest that biotin supplements do improve hair growth, hair density, the rate at which hair growth, it improves skin health and nail health. And it makes sense because there is an association between biotin deficiency and brittle nails, hair thinning. People with biotin deficiency have hair thinning. So that is definitely a thing. You know, in contrast, there are relatively few cases of biotin deficiency, especially in the West. A lot of people aren't deficient in biotin unless you are eating raw egg whites. Egg whites contain avidin, which is a protein that can bind to biotin and shuttle it out of the body. So that can definitely increase your chances of biotin deficiency or any sort of like nutritional deficiency that you know, if you're not eating enough, you're not getting enough nutrients, you definitely need to see your doctor and get tested for those nutrients. For the most part, people aren't deficient in biotins. Whether or not you really need a biotin supplement where you're getting 8,000, 10,000, 15,000% of your daily value is debatable because a lot of the research anyway, the findings are somewhat inconsistent. So whether or not biotin is really helping hair growth is debatable. On the flip side of that, I have been using a biotin supplement and I have talked about this in one of my biotin vlogs, on YouTube, and this is the Mary Ruth. I'm not affiliated with any of these companies that I'm going to discuss, but it's just a product that I really like. This is the Mary Ruth's biotin gummies. The biotin gummies, these are different in that they are sugar-free. I mean, they're tasty. They have goji berry and they're pectin based, which is nice. The thing about the biotin gummies, I'm not taking it for necessarily the biotin. I have perceived, and it may be a placebo effect, I don't know, it very well could be, but I have perceived the rate at which my hair grows is a lot faster. It was already pretty fast before, but a lot faster. It feels thicker and stronger, and I really like just sort of what I perceive anyway, the benefits that I perceive. The difference between this and just a pure biotin supplement is that it doesn't just contain biotin. So this has methylated folate in it. So folate, or folic acid, which is typically in the supplement form, folate is found, it's a B vitamin. It's found in green vegetables, spinach, kale, broccoli. It's even found in beans. So like Great Northern beans and pinto beans and black beans, things like that. Very, very high in folate. The thing about folate is it helps to reduce homocysteine in the body. This also has a high amount of vitamin B12. So this is a vegan supplement. So it's a vegan source of B12 and it is also non-GMO. So both folate and B12, these are both B vitamins. These help to lower homocysteine in the body. Homocysteine is a marker for inflammation. So a buildup of homocysteine in the body, and this can be very common because not a lot of people are getting folate in their diet because again, it's found mostly in vegetables. Not a lot of people are high in B12 either. Even meat eaters, people who eat meat, aren't always high in B12. Both of these B vitamins help to reduce homocysteine in the body, and the accumulation of homocysteine in the body. Inflammation is associated with inflammaging, which is basically aging. Both the visible signs as well as the biological and molecular signs of cellular aging is tied to inflammation. Inflammation is a driver in the pathogenesis of aging. Now, when it comes to the skin, inflammation definitely contributes to acne and skin disorders, but aging is also associated with inflammation, the visible signs of aging, because especially when it's induced by UV, but definitely induced by diet. If you have a diet that's rich in processed foods and sugars and meat proteins, like high amounts of proteins or refined carbohydrates, you're getting that inflammation. And if you don't have any sort of anti-inflammatory compounds in your diet that are trying to fight that off, it's going to be really hard to lead a sort of anti-aging defense lifestyle. So I think that homocysteine is one of the things that it does, in addition to just driving inflammation, is it's related to high amounts of hydrogen peroxide in the body. So hydrogen peroxide is H2O2, and this causes reactive oxygen species or oxidative damage in the cells and tissues, and is also associated with the graying of the hair. We often talk about the face and the skin, but when it comes to the hair, when we're young, we have certain endogenous antioxidants in our body, like catalase and superdioxide dismutase. Catalase in particular helps to break down hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen, O2. So that is no problem. So there's not that buildup, and we don't have as much inflammation and oxidation in our body. But over time, it's harder for our body to produce catalase, or the catalase, in addition to other things like ubiquinone or CoQ10, as well as ceramides in the skin. These decline with age. So it's harder for the body to break down hydrogen peroxide. And so there's more reactive oxygen species going on. Homocysteine, the buildup of that is associated with high levels of hydrogen peroxide in the body. And so it can't break down that hydrogen peroxide, especially as time goes on, you don't have that catalase, or you're not doing things to increase the levels of catalase in your body, or the other endogenous antioxidant systems that we naturally have in our bodies. Then you're having that high homocysteine, you're having that high accumulation of the hydrogen peroxide. Ultimately, that's what leads to the depigmentation of the hair shaft, or AKA the gray hair, the graying of the hairs. I'm not saying that, taking B12 or folate is going to help prevent gray hair, but I do believe it's all tied together in a holistic way. And I think that for me, what I like to see in a hair supplement is not just biotin. I mean, maybe that's doing something. B12 and folate is fantastic, because then you have, not only is that going to be helping to improve your overall health and energy, and may improve the integrity of your hair and your skin and your nails, but it may in fact help to potentially, if the research suggests, or the research is, applicable to everyday life or to real world situations, may be associated with a decrease in that homocysteine and a decrease in that inflammation, and may be important in helping to prevent against gray hair. Now, this is just all theory, but this has been definitely reported and talked about in the medical literature. And I would love to see more research on that, and to see whether or not supplementation can actually prevent, in humans, or at least delay the onset of gray hair. And I think that for many people, that could be very important. So that is awesome. It also has zinc, and that's great for hair, skin, and nails as well. 91% of your daily value. The other thing it has in here that I think is really cool is a Chinese medicine extract, and it's faux tea extract, and it is Rhaenutria multiflora root, and it is extract of that root. One of the things that I found really interesting is that I actually pulled up a few studies. This extract has been used for centuries as an anti-aging extract, or the plant has been used for centuries in anti-aging. Some of the research out there suggests that it may help to manage or prevent early hair graying. So we're back to the graying hair. So I think that's awesome that that provides these three things that have been at least implicated in the process of graying hair. So one of the research studies that I found said that this was in zebrafish embryos. So it's not humans, but a lot of dermatologic studies are formed in zebrafish embryos and larvae. But it showed that it was able to activate the MC1R, MITF, and tyrosinase signaling pathway. The downregulation of that has been associated with early hair graying in young people. So the upregulation, or the activation of that with an herbal plant or an extract, is actually very promising, because it suggests that there may be an association between managing or preventing gray hair, or the early onset of gray hair in young people, with a plant-based product. So I think that's really interesting. Not saying that this is going to treat gray hair. I'm not saying that at all, but I think it's very interesting, and I definitely want to continue taking it for prevention purposes, as well as just, getting those nutrients in my diet. Because again, it's very easy to be deficient or low in B12, regardless if you're on a vegan diet or a meat, carnivore diet or an omnivore diet. It can be very challenging to even get folate in your diet. So I think it's really important to have some sort of like insurance policy, like a multivitamin or something like that you and your doctor can use. At least for me, I'm just talking from my own experience, that I just find that very assuring, and I enjoy using that.